Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now, Windows Vista, regarded by many as the worst of the Windows operating systems. Although continuous upgrades and service packs eventually made vast improvements to overall usability and compatibility, it left a fairly bad taste in people's mouths, prompting Microsoft to release Windows 7 just 3 years after Vista's initial release. Looking at the figures, and Vista is being used by just 1.24% of Windows users as of 2016. Now, despite a long beta period, when the final version was released, a lot of hardware and software was incompatible. It ran slower than XP due to the extra lines of code, to put it simply, and because graphics drivers didn't run at a privileged level as they did on XP, the blue screen of death became an all too common occurrence. But don't take my word for it, Google the term "why was Vista hated" and you'll be shown a plethora of results from both websites and forums filled with people's unique problems as to why this OS wasn't working out for them. Speaking on a personal level, I remember Vista very well as it was installed on the family PC from the day it was purchased and continued to run until eventually it got slower and slower. One day we got a virus that completely killed it, and so an upgrade to 7 not only gave the whole machine a new lease of life, but it ended years of frustrating computing. So let's get on to the main part, gaming. Because this OS needed more memory, game requirements for Vista were higher than on XP RAM-wise, and subsequently gaming performance would be noticeably worse, especially if you were running the 32-bit version. So we've got our hands on the 64-bit Home Premium version with the latest updates and Service Pack 2 installed. Supposedly this made things better. We're using the Core i5 650, 750 Ti and 8GB of DDR3 as well, and the same Nvidia drivers across all operating systems. To make things fair, we'll show you a few clips from DX9 games that were shown in the previous Windows XP video, and we'll be comparing the performance between XP, Vista and 10 to give you an idea of how Vista not only runs compared to its predecessor, but to the most recent successor as well. I'll then show you some clips from newer DX10 and 11 titles, and again put the average FPS up on the screen from both Vista and Windows 10, seeing as XP support ended at DX9. This should give you a good idea of where Vista fits into everything, so let's get into the clips. Now, as you saw there from the results of the DX9 titles, XP and 10 performed quite closely as expected, with Vista dropping behind throughout. A shameful start, but I don't want to call the performance bad. Of course it wasn't, but it's interesting to note that if you're running Vista, you could be missing out on some vital frames per second. Personally, most of the games didn't really feel that different to play, even with the lost frames as you expect. But I will say that GTA 4 was worse affected, and as you saw, it did feel more stuttery. It is GTA 4 though, so I'm not really that surprised. Moving on with regard to those later DX10 and 11 titles, and the results seem to be a little bit closer comparison-wise. Of course, we only had Vista and 10 here due to DirectX limitations with XP, and although Vista lost every time, there wasn't a world of difference between the two. Just remember though that if a game on Windows 10 hit 32 frames per second on average, for example, chances are that it would probably perform under 30 FPS on Vista, and that would likely be quite frustrating if you like to keep 30 as a target. So, I can't say much more about Vista. I was a user for years, and it always felt like something wasn't quite right. Even before my PC gaming days, just web browsing or homework gave me problems, and God forbid you wanted to print something out. I'll never miss that little communication error message or the little spinning blue circle before the not responding messages that led to a hard reset with the help of my foot. But seriously, I know a lot of you probably still use Vista, and for you it may present no problems, which is good. I just can't help but feel that it was sort of unnecessary and more of a Windows 7 demo. The introduction of the service packs did definitely make a difference, but I think a bad initial release left a mark on its reputation. It's hard to win people over if you get off to a bad start. So guys, thank you for checking out Windows Vista with me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. You guys really seem to like the XP one I made a few days ago, and so I thought I'd follow it up with the notorious successor, that was Vista. Like I say guys, hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, click that like button. If you didn't enjoy it so much, hit dislike. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll see all of you in the next video.